上面水拉得到，就是这边，我们是要报到，然后拿地铁钱这样子，然后我们就在这里等等。
你们要转过来啊！
然后我们转过来。嗨。好，等一下你过来，我帮你们拍。哈利路亚 ！Together。放在赖上面，但是我们找不到了哪里这样。
你们先拍啦。
Hurry， 我要围起你。
哎。
弟弟在叫你了。对呀 ，Hurry。
Ready to go? All right, what do you say we get cracking, or should I say in our case, let's get whacking. You got the idea. It is a duck tour after all. Here we are. Lining up the intersection. With any luck, we'll be able to burn some rubber after the light turns green here now in 3, 2, 1, 0. Green light. There it is. Oh, there we go. Are we going to make it? This limbo through the intersection. We're going to make it. We are now officially underway. Let's get ready to rumble! Well, here's a great way to warm up your whackers if you haven't already, guys. Check this out. That's it. You got the idea. Here we go. That's it. Here we go. Great job with the quacking, everybody. That's exactly how it works. Here it is, Fisherman's Rest. Yeah, no fog out there today, which is great. A little bit overcast, but it's lovely. You can see the Marin Headlands out there, the Terrace Hillside, city of Sausalito. This is what I call the ooh and ah part of your trip. Let me hear an ooh. Yeah, let me hear an ah. Yeah, there we have the tall ship at Blutha. Along with the other historic vessels at the High Street Pier, you got Alcatraz and Angel Island. See the people swimming out here? Average annual temperature of San Francisco Bay water is 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh, it makes me cold just thinking about it. Okay, taking a left-hand turn onto Larkin Street right now, passing right alongside of one of my favorites, you guys. Who here likes chocolate? Well, quack if you love chocolate. Quack, 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 quack. Here it is, Ghirardelli Square. Yes, Ghirardelli Square, home to Ghirardelli and Sons Chocolate since 1890s, and home to those little chocolate squares too. Now it's no longer made over here, it's made over in San Leandro in the East Bay since the 1960s. One time this complex here had over 40 specialty shops and restaurants. There's no less than 3 chocolate shops left, an ice cream store where you can get yourself a sundae on a Friday, and every other day of the week too. Now they even have on display antique chocolate making equipment showing you how chocolate is created. You guys know why they're getting a ticket?
Sorry. Yeah.
Why? Well, they did just before the gold rush, already an established chocolate here in South America. Originally born in Italy, he moved to Uruguay, learned how to improve his chocolate making skills. Now, Pierre Dailly didn't come here to make chocolate. He came here instead to seek his fortune in gold, but that didn't pan out. That kind of tour. So he returned to San Francisco, opened up a small confectioner. In the 1860s, he imported mere 200 pounds of raw cacao. 30 years later, he was importing over 450,000 pounds of raw cacao for chocolate production a year. That's a lot of chocolate. Well, here we are at Hyde Street. Once again, when the light turns green, here we go. Take a look up to the right, and here you find the classic shop for the cable cars here in the city. There's a cable car right there. Also, the steepest grade of cable car goes up at 22% grade. And speaking of going up, what goes up must come. Put your hands in the air as a roller coaster. Wow, look at that, you guys. 24 miles an hour on each up, streaming and tearing up the road below us. Yes, the brakes are still working. We got a long weekend ahead of us to get into. We are about ready to make our first neighborhood change. We're taking a right-hand turn on a street called Corso, just before Colombo. And we're going to be heading straight into the heart of the Italian neighborhood known as North Beach, San Francisco's Little Italy. Let's go! Well, Marie, quando sola d'estate. Yeah, for those that come to San Francisco's North Beach, expecting to find a combination of sun and sand and surf, you guys are the wrong part of town. They call this North Beach because at one time there was a beach right here, Francisco Street, 7 blocks in the current water line of the bay. This is where the surf met the sand until late 1800s when they filled us all the sand. At one time, the neighborhood around here was home to a people from over 17 different nationalities, and it later became primarily Italian due to its close proximity to Lombard Street. On Lombard Street to the right, we have the switchback of 8 turns going back and forth with a beautiful center garden. They call Lombard Street not the crooked street of San Francisco, mind you. That one is on Arrow Hill on Vermont Street. It's not the crooked street of the world either, because I thought that was Wall Street. Hello. Cable car tracks column Mason line leading towards the top of Mount Hill. Yes, we are now heading more towards the center of this neighborhood now, even though many Italian families moved away from this neighborhood. Stretching along Columbus on both sides up ahead, you can find a wide variety of outdoor cafes, espresso bars, and of course, gelato. You guys getting hungry yet?
I know.
Now do take note of all the Italian flags painted on the lamppost throughout the entire neighborhood. That's to give it more of an Italian flair. Do take note of all the Italian restaurants along Columbus. That's also to give it more of an Italian flair. And do take note of all the Italians working in the Italian restaurants. That's also to give it more of an Italian flair. Ciao. Now to the left, more sightseeing. Well, of all the Italian restaurants, here we have La Boulange. Isn't that kind of French? What's to do in this neighborhood? Oui, oui. Soup de jour, croissant, food sauce. The Cafe Roma to the left. Tours down, you'll find a happy little gelato place called Naya. 10 flavors of gelato there underneath the orange canopy. Right next door to it, we have Cafe Delucchi, our longest running musical review. Play that's constantly updated and rewritten with books on politics and pop culture with the use of really large hats, to say the least. They leave no one and nothing out. The show happens right around the corner there at a place called Club Fugazi. The show started in 1974. It was only to be run for 6 weeks back then. They just celebrated their 40th anniversary this year. There's shows every day except Mondays and Tuesdays, and matinees on Sundays, so the underage crowd.
Bells will ring, ding-a-ling-a-ling, ding-a-ling-a-ling, and you'll sing.
Well, just like that, you guys, we are making yet another neighborhood change. We're coming out of the outdoor cafes. Up ahead, we'll find outdoor markets, dim sum, Chinese herbal shops, and ginseng. Welcome everybody now to Chinatown. Well, San Francisco's Chinatown is not only the oldest Chinatown in North America, which would make it the first Chinatown in North America. This is one of 4 Chinatowns in the city that make up the largest Chinese community outside of Asia. This neighborhood covers about 20 square blocks and over 100,000 people live in this neighborhood. They call it a city within a city. It has its own banks and shops and hospitals, schools, restaurants, post office. In fact, this neighborhood overlaps 5 postal zip codes of San Francisco. It's officially part of downtown. Now, there are 2 main streets of Chinatown. This is Stockton. This is more the Market Street of Chinatown. Take a look around the depth front here. Take a look. Oh, they got jig fruit out there. See the stinky deep fruit? The markets align the street every day of the week, feature fresh fruits, vegetables, meats, and seafoods. There are places in this neighborhood that sell live fish, chickens, turtles, and I've even seen a few places that sell frogs, and they're not pet stores. And of course, what's Chinese cuisine without duck? Where do you think we get the beaks for our quackers? From Taiwan, that's right. So we're here at the other part of Chinatown, you guys, is 1 block to the left. They've got Washington Street blocked off here, but it looks like it's open. Normally we come up Washington Street, but they weren't allowing us to make this left-hand turn, so I had to come down here and check it out first. But anyway, down Grand Street is the more tourist part of Chinatown, or Grand Avenue. Grand Avenue, the more tourist part of Chinatown, draws more tourists every year than the Golden Gate Bridge. That's where you can find your souvenirs, your knickknacks, bric-a-brac, take-home stuff, samurai swords, Hello Kitties, straw, all right down there, fireworks too. Chinese finger traps. An alleyway called Ross. Near the end of Ross is the Golden Gate Fortune Cookie Company, where they're turning out thousands of fortune cookies every day using fortune cookie machines. For 50 cents, you can take a picture, and then for another $1, you can have your own fortune placed inside of your own fortune cookie. How about that? You did that? Oh, did you? Then you'll notice walking inside, it's like a great wall of fortune cookies, bags and bags of these things piling high to the ceiling. Now the fortune, it's right down here, Washington Street here. Well, most days we have to be really careful driving a duck boat through Chinatown. As you can see, we are inches away from everything and everyone. But I think we just might survive Chinatown in another half a block or so. So here's what I will survive. Chinese. Right into the Stockton Tunnel now. It says fly through tunnel, but hey, we're on a duck boat. You got some placards back there. Let's make some noise. Without further ado, welcome everybody to Union Square. Yes, if San Francisco had a heart, this is where you'd find it. This also happens to be the heart of San Francisco shopping. Yeah, there are over 2,000 shops and boutiques here in Union Square, and 1,000 of those are Starbucks. Another 500 are Walgreens Pharmacy, if you believe that one, right? Over 6 million square feet retail space they coming. That is high-end shopping, along with many. What are we gonna do? Go for it. On the right-hand side is the old Levi's Jeans flagship store, soon to be replaced by the largest Apple computer retail store, which reminds me to ask you guys, what kind of a computer does a duck use? Did I hear Quackintosh? Quackintosh? We're coming up to the actual square in Union Square, right where it belongs, right where one should expect to find it. Named so for the pro-Union Army rallies that happened here just before the American Civil War in 1861. Underneath you guys is the first underground parking garage in the world. Hear what the noise there, the quack hammer. That's Macy's over there. They tell me that's the second largest Macy's. It's nearly one entire city block of shopping. 7 levels, 1 level dedicated entirely to women's shoes. We're having a detour around Union Square with lots of construction that follows along pretty much our entire track. I'll explain to you guys what's going on here in a little bit as we get further down the road. But you go back to this square, you guys, in the center of the square, there's a 97-foot tall column. The column is called the Dewey Monument. It's dedicated to Admiral George Dewey's victory at sea during the Spanish and American War. And throughout their marriage, Alma referred to Mr. Spreckles as her sugar daddy. Quack, 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 quack. Deep breath in. Quack, quack, quack. Keep up the good work back there. I love the sound of clacking on a duck boat. That's what it's all about, you guys. We're just on the outside of New York City in 1852. Its headquarters are now here in San Francisco. Another bank that opened up here originally in 1904 as the Bank of Italy. After the 1906 earthquake and fire, it was renamed the Bank of. They had to go into hiding for 2 weeks and they still found it. When you take a look, it runs from the ferry building from the left, all the way through the city, through the Castro to Twin Peaks beyond. You'll see the ferry building a little bit later, but there's Twin Peaks down there again. And crossing Market Street, we are now south of Market. Neighborhood here is known as so much shortened from South of Market. So much. Long ago, the neighborhood down here supported the Port of San Francisco and its shipping, warehouses and factories and flop houses. It was inhabited by sailors and transients and duck captains lived down here. Real mean and nasty, scary place to hang out at night. The dot-com boom, not the dot-com boom, in the 1990s saw a renaissance in this neighborhood. It was rebuilt with art galleries, museums, convention centers, live-work lofts started to replace the SROs. Yeah, single-room occupancy hotels, residential hotels. Got art galleries, museums, convention centers. Here's the California Historical Society celebrating the 150th anniversary of Yosemite. We got the Museum of the African Diaspora to the left. In the center of this neighborhood is called the Yerba Buena Gardens. Yerba Buena is the original name of San Francisco Fire. Here we have the Contemporary Jewish Museum. This is St. Patrick's Church, the Goldberg Church built in 1852. And to our left, this lovely park. They call this San Francisco Front Lawn. Take a look. The waterfall in the back is part of a monument dedicated to Martin Luther King Jr. They say it's the largest man-made waterfall on the West Coast. Parts of King's I Have a Dream speech are written in various languages along the back wall there. To the left is the Metreon, built by Sony Corporation. Shop, restaurant, Super Duper Burger, a brand new City Target store. What's the City Target store, you ask? It's a Target store in the city. That's one of 2 that we have in town now. And upstairs is AMC Theaters, AMC Lowe's, that has one of the IMAX TVs upstairs. Turn the corner and see what's playing in the theater. Before I saw Godzilla destroy San Francisco a while ago, I'm gonna see the Planet of the Apes destroy San Francisco again. And they're rebuilding. Here's the Moscone Convention Center, named after George Moscone. 900,000 square feet of convention space there. It's pretty big. One more building to show you, and take a look at this glass dome on the left. Antique Carousel, the merry-go-round. Dates back to 1906 from the Playland at the Pacific. Last time I rode the carousel, cost $3 for 2 ride tokens. For 6, I suppose you could get 4 of them. Sure, carousel is a lot of fun to ride. A great piece of San Francisco living history, but can a carousel take you on a trip? Quack, 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 quack. Here comes the bumpy, guys. Oh, bumpy road. Oh, forgot about this overpass again. Not sure about the height on here. So just in case, get ready. Put your head down and duck, right? Oh, look, they're digging a swimming pool. Check it out. Hey, is this a bad time to talk about earthquakes? Here we have the Utah Inn, a classic piece of San Francisco architecture, history, barrel windows, bay windows, Victorian building, built in 1908. This building survived the 1906 earthquake and fire because it wasn't built yet. They tell me inside that during Prohibition, this building was a hangout. So here we are on Brannan Street, named after Samuel Brannan. Brannan was the man who made that famous announcement that gold had been discovered in the American River. He was later to become San Francisco's first millionaire. He also happened to own the only hardware store between here and the gold fields. Later in his years, he was established to establish the first California public school here in San Francisco, which was at Portland Square, where Chinatown is today. The population of San Francisco at the time the announcement was made, this was a small village of right around 300 to 400 people. And in 1 year's time, the population exploded to over 25,000 people. They say that during the height of the gold rush, the population was doubling here in the city every 10 days. We're at Caltrain Station. So that all that road construction back now, you guys want to see the best part of the city? I mean, you want to see the best part of San Francisco? Take a look inside a Caltrain station over here. It's not the best part of the city, it's at least the best part of the tour. Take a look, it's you guys, there you are. See anything that you recognize? So all that road construction we drove through, heavy equipment, all the construction noise and the dust, been going on for years and years down the road. Currently, as we're speaking right now, they're digging a tunnel for subway extension. Crossing Mission Creek, we're entering into a new neighborhood. Before we get there, take a look off to your left and you'll find your first glimpse, one of many, glimpse of AT&T Ballpark, home of the world champion San Francisco Giants. We're going to be getting a lot of different looks at the ballpark in a little bit, but in the meantime, we are on our way to the bay. While we're there, guys, welcome to San Francisco's up-and-coming neighborhood, literally. They're building it right now as we speak. Lots of new building down here, development. This guy's in the way. Moving all the way. Oh. A lot of what you see is less than 2 years old. Most of it hasn't been finished yet. This is University of California, San Francisco, China Basin, with a brand new children's hospital being built down the street at 16th and 3rd. It's the first hospital being built in San Francisco in the last 30 years. Well, they're building down here, they realized that all of this was unstable ground. It's all landfill over bay mud. So in order to make these buildings more stable, they take these long beams called flammable beams, and act like stilts. They drive them through the ground to the bedrock below. 240 feet below us is solid sandstone, but some people take it for granted. The flam beams not only help stabilize buildings in case of an earthquake, but they also help it prevent it from sinking into the mud below. So we're on our way to the water, guys. I know it's around here someplace. As we're making our way there, I want to take this opportunity to mention to each and every one of you back there that not only is this duck a U.S. Coast Guard inspected small passenger vessel, I also happen to be a licensed captain. I We do not anticipate a water emergency by any means. But the Coast Guard and our company still require us to cover some very specific emergency equipment of the eyes just in case. First off, I want to direct your attention to the orange things above your heads, the life jackets. On your right-hand side, these are adult-sized life jackets. For children under 90 pounds, we have child-sized life jackets located on the left. The infants on board, any babies under 30 pounds, we also have provided infant life jackets all the way in the back and left-hand side as well. I will give a demonstration of life jackets in a little bit. I want to point out our 3 emergency exits on board. This is 1, this is 2, this is the 3rd emergency exit up here forward. The opening nearest you is considered your exit. We have 2 throwable life rings, 1 here, 1 at the very stern of the vessel on the back and the outside, and we have 2 handheld barracks. Bring it all the way around to the front of the life jacket. Locate the clip and snap it into the D-ring. On the T-tab, pull on the T-tab until the life jacket becomes snug. Wait for further instructions. Don't try this at home. We're going to take this duck out of San Francisco City and put it right into San Francisco. Wait for it. Here we go. We're going to take this duck out of San Francisco City and put it right into San Francisco. Whoa. Here we go. Right into San Francisco. There we go, guys. We were a bus. We are now a boat. We are officially a duck. Quack, 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 quack. What's the captain about our first, isn't it? The first lesson of being a sailor, you guys, is looking good. Yeah, Austin, turn and look this way so they can take your picture. There you go. I think he's reaching for the foot feed, the pedal. There we go. The second lesson is looking where you're going, right? Good job, everybody. Who else wants to drive back there? Who else wants to drive? We're going to be out here for about 20 minutes or so, 20, 30 minutes. Anybody else want to drive? 2002 to 2005. They're first commissioned for use in the first Gulf War, Desert Shield. Currently, they serve on the ready reserve fleet. They can be ready and deployed in 4 days. It takes 4 days to get these ships crewed, provisioned, and underway with orders. We have 3 of these. They're completely identical to one another. We have the Cape Hudson on the left. That's Cape Hudson, not Cape Hudson. Yeah. We have the Cape Henry across the bay at Alameda, next to the rest of the fleet. And here we have the Cape Horn. Look, we're going around Cape Horn, everyone. It's all right, I do this every day. It's a little trip to the journal like this one did, remember? A 3-hour tour. But no sea otters in Texas, so they might not been down on that. Every once in a while we see dolphin down here, but they don't often come this far into the bay unless it's on porpoise.
It's primitive as can be. So join us here each week, my friend. You're sure to get a smile from 7 stranded castaways here on Gilligan Island.
Well, we're coming into view of the ballpark in the distance. We're going to chug along here until we get a little bit closer. We'll set you up with some nice photographs of 18th of the ballpark on Mount Citroen Tower. You guys are lucky here being this week here. It doesn't look like there's much fog of anything. No, they kept the boats down, way down there. It's past Pier 80. It's a place near Islay Creek. It's down there. not only that, we had the America's Cup boats down there, but during that summer, Larry Ellison's yacht was there too. The America's Cup racing was down there. They moved up here. They've got the old replica of the America's Cup schooner down there too. Well, here we are. Splash hits, Barry Bonds at 35. 35 were by Barry Bonds. That's pretty incredible, given since the only giant that's come close is Pablo Sandoval with 7. And a right-hander has yet to hit a splash hit in the McCovey Cove, but Buster Posey has come close a couple of times. What I'm going to do here is turn right. We've got some traffic out here. I want to stay see the national anthem. And inside the line of white buoys. During a game, people come out here on just about anything that floats, especially day games, night games even too. Kayaks, surfboards, paddleboards, anything that floats waiting to catch one of the splash hits. During a game as well, people come out here with their boats and anchor in them. We're going to drive along the tree line on our way out of here and over the bridge right off front of the stadium. There's a game this evening, 7:15 Arizona. Tropical in here. Okay, everyone, here we are making our way back towards the ramps. Go ahead and return all the way back in your seats if you haven't already, and prepare for landing. Let me go through my checklist here. Let's see. Dilithium crystals check. The flux capacitor check. The shields are at 100% check. Drop the landing gear, and we are clear for landing. That's it's a yacht club. Yacht club. The real halfway point is placed just down the street over here. It's called the Ramp. That's the Ramp. That's a very well-known place. Hot dog. We're going to make contact with the ramp. Brace yourself to the bump. Hold on to the bump. Here comes the bump, everybody. There's the bump. And speaking of nasty, guys, help me with a countdown. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. Here we go. Up and out of the water we go. We're going to make it. Hooray, we made it. Thank you. Thank you. One more thing we have to do here, we still have to pump our villages. In the upper promenade, you can see a SF cable car, retired cable car for the SF main lines. On it, there's a sign that reads, "No Dodger stands allowed." Yeah, even in the last 5 years since I've been here, all of this, all new. I said, before I started driving, I worked at the ramp waiting for a CDL to come by and be the captain on the water. And the dust would blow just so bad, just covered in dust. There was one or two pumps going. Most of the campus of UCSF has been there for a few years. There we are, their wall of fame out here. If you take a look, there's plenty more room for names and numbers to be painted on the wall there. I have to point that out to the Dodgers fans come for a ride with us. Just to let them know. Here we have our Giants dugout, the official team store to AT&T Ballpark. During the regular baseball season, it's an outdoor stadium, brick construction, seats about 43,000 people inside. And it's always sold out. Covey Cove. We're going to fly along the Embarcadero. Embarcadero is Spanish for wharf. Once we're on it, we should call it the Emplacadero because dogs bark, ducks sing. Hopefully there's no traffic on it, otherwise it's the Embarcadero and that's not at all. We're going to cruise along the waterline, the city skyline out here. Past the ferry building, past downtown. Past Telegraph Hill and Point Tower, past Pier 39, and head on back to Fisherman's Wharf. We have an ETA Fisherman's Wharf of 20 minutes or less here. Provided we don't hit every single red light along the road. This sculpture on the right is a working wind vane, a movable piece of art called Sea Change. Here for South Beach Marina, we got the Schooner Bay Lady out there. We got the Java House out here. There's a great dog run out here, South Beach Marina. Carmen's at Pier 40, South Beach Marina. Bella Oysters, Monday through Friday. This is Pier 30 and Pier 32. This is where they proposed to put the Golden State Warriors basketball stadium was right out here. Which I think would have been a great addition to the waterfront. I just don't know where everybody's going to park. Well, the deal fell through, but they just approved plans this year for a brand new stadium for the Warriors just south of AT&T Ballpark, not far. So in the near future, we have two major stadiums within a mile of each other. Java House right there. Great burgers at the Bridge at Red's and a sourdough roll. Oh yeah. I know it doesn't look like much, but I dream about the french fries out of that place. It's open for breakfast and lunch and open late on game days. The Bay Bridge leading from the city right to your Buena Island. So get your cameras out, turn them on, fire them up, point them off on the starboard side over here on the right hand side. You get a really magnificent view of the Bay Bridge, the double-decker suspension sized bridge. We're right underneath the bridge right now. Well, while we're waiting here, guys, we've already introduced you guys to a number of San Francisco firsts. Remember some of them? First Chinatown, North America. Yeah, first underground parking garage. First cable car. The Phoenix Fireboat, the San Francisco Fire Department. The waterfront water bar out here. Right next door to it is the Epic Roast House. We'll take a great smell. The wood fire grill at Epic Roast House. We're coming into this view of the bow and arrow, a sculpture called Cupid's Stand. Created by two artists whose names I cannot pronounce, otherwise I'd tell you what they are. They were commissioned by the city to make a sculpture, and they interviewed people around the city. The story goes, they felt there was so much love in San Francisco, they felt as though it had been struck by Cupid's arrow. I suppose if you left your heart in San Francisco, this is where you'd find it. When you drive by, you'll see that it kind of resembles its own type of suspension bridge in a way, and it spans the length of the Bay Bridge. I've seen a lot of people come down here and do their wedding photographs taking along with the span. I've even seen a few people get proposed to down here, just in time for 32 people show up in a duck boat. We stop and everybody goes, "Oh." We got Yerba Buena Island out there, and to the left is Treasure Island. Treasure Island is a island made using dredged material out of the bay. It was built for the World's Fair and Exposition in 1930s. There again, the military base was stationed out there. Had to get back to work here. Yeah. Coming into view of the clock tower of the ferry building, 4 o'clock, 22 feet across. The clocks on here are stopped twice, once in 1906, a little giant earthquake that year, and again the 1989 Loma Bridge earthquake. The 1906 earthquake was followed by a devastating fire that destroyed over 500 city blocks, 21,000 buildings were destroyed, and it left over 225,000 people homeless. Many cities would have thrown in the towel, not San Francisco. San Franciscans at the time felt they had a civic duty to rebuild the city. People came from all over the world to help out. Much of it had been rebuilt by 1910, officially opened up back to the world by 1915. Now the ferry building dates back to the 1890s, and one time this was one of the largest and busiest transit terminals in the world. The ferry service saw the beginning of its decline by the 1930s after they completed both the Bay and Golden Gate bridges. The ferry service was all gone by 1989 Loma Bridge earthquake. So I rebirthed the ferry service. After they shut down the bridge for major repairs for months. The ferry service continues to this day with service to North Bay, East Bay, South City, Golden Gate Bridge. The high-speed ferry the high-speed ferries that we have going in excess of 38 knots. The ferry building out here underwent a seismic retrofit in the 1990s. Now it's home to gourmet markets and a world-class farmers market on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. To the left, looking back in towards the financial zone, the financial district in the city. During the time of the gold rush of this area of San Francisco, this was a body of water. It was known as Yerba Buena Cove. In 1849, over 700 ships came to anchor here, bringing their passengers on their way to the gold fields 130 miles east in the Sierra Nevada foothills. When they got here, everybody abandoned ship. The passengers through some of the captains and controls. There's the International Pilot Flag. You see it? 80 miles. Oh look, another Starbucks. Of course, you find those things everywhere these days. Am I right, you guys? If it were up to us, we would call them Star Ducks. Ducks. Of course, at the East Coast, you guys have Dunkin' Donuts. You have Dunkin' Donuts? Yeah. Again, if it were up to us, we'd call them Dunkin' Donuts. Right there. Moving along the Embarcadero, one more thing about Treasure Island out here. You guys remember the movie Indiana Jones: Last Crusade? Well, there's a building out here. Take a look right on the end of the Treasure Island there at the column window. Here, that's the old Naval Officers Club. Indiana Jones: Last Crusade. They used that movie as the Berlin airport. You remember the scene when they arrive at the airport and the sidecar motorcycle just after escaping the castle just before jumping into the Zeppelin? That's the building up there. A little bit of Lucas movie making magic for you. Here we have the Exploratorium at Pier 15. There's over 500 exhibits here at the Exploratorium. There are no do not touch. When she grew up, she stopped chasing the fire engines, traveled abroad, eventually got married, but always considered San Francisco her home. And continued later in her life, assisting the volunteer firemen of San Francisco. When she passed away, she left some of her estate for beautification projects in the city, and created Coit Tower and placed a statue of the volunteer firemen in Washington Square. Now the tower is once again open after some repairs of the winter. You can now again ride an elevator all the way up to the top. Observation deck, amazing views of the city in the day. If you guys are looking for more things to do, take a look at the bottom of your boarding pass. If you're looking for something to try out here, the common food items. Of course, this includes the Dungeness crab. It's no longer in season, but it's still available at a most premium price with restaurants and crab stands around the wharf.
Hey, 被锁在这里面。对，然后有人就想要从那里逃开，对。没有人。
对啊，然后有3名逃犯，他们可以出得海，但是呢，那个 FBI 觉得他们在海上被那个浪潮吹到不知道哪去了，然后就死了，所以他们也不算破纪录。球员终结者有来这边做过那个什么东西的。结束了。
拍不到整个桥，我们要走到那边一点。
等一下，我要挑战拍全景的。
OK đã. Không thì đang đầu ngoài.
走开啦
Sorry. I'm a traveler. Okay. Let's Well, you look the other way. Yeah. 结果是只能这样子哦，嘿。如果你这样高，你不要不要吃那个什么。
Yeah. And they say Chicago is the windy city.
I know, right?
来 ，turn over。
哎，你这个是，你现在这个。 都吃完了，
现出本性了。
这没什么好录的啦。